Welcome into a brand new episode of WSI TV. Enjoy the show.
Hello everybody and welcome to another weekly market update after the market closed on Friday 20th of April 2018. Here's where we check in with the long-term trend of the stock market and short-term trend of the stock market. It's very important to know these things, especially if you're a trader, because you want to have your trades aligned with the direction of the short-term trend. And as an investor, that is anyone with a pension or basically any interest in retiring at all, then the stock market direction is very important to make sure you're not a sitting duck for another big drop or bear market that's going to wipe out all those gains. So here we are with the S&P 500, which is kind of like a benchmark index we use for basically the whole world. And this is the weekly chart, so it's going back to 2014. You can see at the bottom here is the years going by. Each of these up and down little pegs is a week of action. And these moving averages here, the 40 week is the blue one, 70 week is the red one. That's over time, sort of the average direction of prices. Literally, you know, is the stock market above or below average, and which direction is that average pointing in? And as we can see, the market is above average, and that direction is pointed clearly up. And it has been up ever since my proprietary signal gave the go-ahead for a brand new bull market around then, 7 November 2016, and has not yet told us to get out. So, and the more and more I look at this chart, the more I realise that this really was after it got carried away. A much overdue correction took place and is still kind of figuring itself out here. But the bottom line is you look at this chart and there's really nothing wrong with it. It's just a healthy correction that was quite overdue. It's going up, it comes down, it bounces. The important thing is it's bouncing off of this 40 week and not sort of sagging below it. The long-term perspective, this is still very much a bull market. Let's look at the short term. Here it is again, only day-to-day of action now over the last 6 months. We're zooming in on the action. And here we can see what happened. There's that big blow off. One bounce, two bounces. And in a way, this is kind of like what's called a double bottom now. Well, actually not in a way, it looks like it, that's what it is. We can connect these 2 points here like that. You've got this sort of W shape going on here. And there is that bounce. So what we're looking at, what should be happening now, is if this was a W pattern, the top of the W goes something like that. So there's this W, and what we're looking to happen is get above that line that's been created now. Once it gets above there, around sort of 2,725, something like that, it should be really back on track on the short term as well. Over the week we had some good action. It got back above the 50-day moving average, that blue line there, since I last spoke to you. More importantly, there's a sort of short-term sort of top of resistance around there, 2662, and this week it overcame that. So it went Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So there's this pullback here. The good news is that yes, it looks like it got out of that pocket resistance, and this could just be a healthy pullback to that old resistance, and hopefully now becomes new support for the price to move up and complete that W pattern. On the downside, this selling did sort of pick up some rising selling volume down there. So the short-term trend, it's still, I'm afraid, keeping us waiting. It's been a very long, drawn-out correction that began in, the early February now. But it was a market that got very ahead of itself, very overblown, and it hadn't had a correction in a year, so it kind of is due. So bottom line is the short-term correction is still underway. There's the line. We want it to stay above that 2262 line, around something like that. And as long as it stays above that, I'm expecting it to complete this double bottom pattern and get back on track. If it drops below that, then we'll still be very much in a downtrend. So the short-term trend is conditional, and I think on what happens there with that line this week. Otherwise, as I look at the chart right now, it's kind of still amber light on the short term in a bull market long term. So that's all, and I will speak to you next time.
Thanks for watching the latest episode of WSI TV. Be sure to visit WSITV.com where you can subscribe to for free with no contract and gain instant access to the secrets of self-made millionaires via the WSI TV Vault. So go ahead and claim this gift for free now at WSITV.com.